welcome to Teachers Change Lives podcast, your weekly reminder that teaching is the most important profession of them all. I'm Shaz Angel, Principal of Mastery Schools Australia in Queensland, and this is my good friend William White, who is an English and Geography teacher at Lauriston Girls' School in Melbourne, Australia. Thank you for tuning in.
Good morning, Mrs. Angel.
Good morning, Mr. White.
Hey, first
How
one
you
for the
doing?
year.
Good to
How
be back.
exciting. How exciting.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
No, absolutely not. And I'm super excited about this season because I've got a new studio here.
It does look pretty schmick.
There's a new background going on.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this really super comfy seat. This leather, it's like a proper gamer's seat. You know,
You're
those
worth
super
it.
comfy ones. I think so.
Yep.
And new desk that goes up and down at the push of a button. It's electric. All thanks to New Brighton Capital. Dropped that off for me. Very helpful.
New Brighton Capital.
They love their teachers over there. Get involved, New Brighton Capital. They do really good things.
Love it. And, you know, they can also send some love to Queensland. But you know what? You are worth it, and you are the star of this show, and I appreciate you. And you're looking pretty comfy in that chair. So I know that your wisecracks this season are going to be absolutely on point.
Smooth.
Yes,
will be.
So smooth. Love it. So how were holidays? How did holidays go for you? Because obviously Southern Hemisphere, we are just coming back now. Our Northern Hemisphere friends have pushed straight from New Year's into their school term. Mm-hmm. But Southern Hemisphere, we are just back now for the start of year. So how were your summer holidays?
Spectacular. I'd say the best summer holidays ever. I did so much, lots of family time. Did some water skiing up at Mansfield with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and their family. It was awesome fun. Spent a bit of time at Phillip Island for some beach time. Got up to see you, which was an absolute highlight that I'm sure we're going to speak a bit more about.
So much fun
later on. It's been great. It's been fantastic. I feel really, rejuvenated and pumped to get hit 2024 running. How was yours?
Well, before we get into mine, it wasn't all good though, was it?
No,
there
it
was
wasn't.
A little squelchy problem that you've just come home to.
It was. So after spending a bit of time in Phillip Island, we got back the other night and there was a storm of some size. It was very heavy rain for a period of time, but it was very localized. So it didn't hit all of Melbourne, but it certainly hit my house. So I came home to a stinky bedroom that has the carpet saturated and a little bit of mold and that sort of thing going on. But that's all right. We'll get through it. It's just another thing. So at the moment, we've moved our bed out into the living room, and so the kids are all jumping on it all the time.
It's just like a camp. You're glamping.
We're glamping. We're glamping.
Yeah, with you and your 19 children.
3, but yes, it feels like 19. Yes.
Yep.
The tennis is on and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to lie in the living room and actually be able to watch television and go to sleep at the same time.
That's a great excuse to be able to make the best of it. Good for you. That's
silver
awesome.
Lining.
Yep.
Silver lining. And how cool is this? We've got a little sort of a garden area outside of our bedroom that we couldn't build on. So it's just a little bit of garden. And we have a tawny frogmouth that is just chilling there at the moment. It's really cool.
All is right in the world if you've got your own little owl just hanging out outside your bedroom.
Yeah, well, I like to refer to the old tawny frogmouths as the dolphins of the sky. And they make you feel warm and fuzzy. I like my tawny frogmouths. Yeah,
they are, and it's so cute. They are one of the cutest birds of all. Is an owl a bird? Cute. We're going with it.
Well, they're not owls, but yes,
they look like
nocturnal
an owl,
birds.
But
yes.
It's a bird. It's a bird, not an owl.
It's a bird.
It's truly
this. It does have big eyes, and it does look like
an owl.
Typical owl. Yes.
Yeah.
How about your holiday?
All right. Mine was action-packed. It was fabulous as well. Magnificent. Mm-hmm. I got to travel the world and then also come home and do all the good stuff at home. So I headed off the day after school finished on the Friday, got straight onto a plane to head over to the UK on the Saturday. and got to visit some absolutely phenomenal, the best schools in the UK, and got to learn from them, work with their leadership team, their teachers, got to have conversations with their students, have taken so many ideas back, and have just been able to, so day one it was for me at school today, and we've already put some of that new learning into practice, which is super cool. And then I got to go for a little, very 3-night little visit to Paris with my gorgeous niece, who I haven't seen in 8 months, and we just had an amazing time in Paris. I did nearly get mugged. That's a story for another day. That was 1 Angel and 0 for the small-time criminal.
Oh, I want to hear more about that.
And then we headed back we went from -2 degrees back to the heat of Queensland, Australia. It was 38 degrees, I think, when I returned. And it was just spectacular weather, and got to go up to visit my family up north to Rockhampton and Yeppoon. And then whilst we were away, there was a tornado, which our Northern Hemisphere friends wouldn't know. We don't get tornadoes in Australia, like ever, but a tornado hit the Gold Coast, and there was massive storms that were ripping through Queensland, southeast Queensland. So we avoided all of that. Got to go out with my sister out on our boat over to Great Keppel Island. Awesome. And lots of snorkeling and just spectacular sun worshipping. And then we came back and we got to hang out with the whites. Awesome. And there was more sun worshipping and a bit of boat time. We saw dolphins. And we know that when you see dolphins, that everything is all right.
That's
I
true.
like to call the dolphins the tawny frog mouths of the ocean.
You beat me to it. Oh, that's a shame. I'm rubbing up on you. I can hear myself echoed in your. I'm sorry about that. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And we saw about 200 turtles.
Oh, the turtles were amazing. It was so cool. So I'm going to take over for a second. We were out in this little lagoon, and it was dead silent. And somehow we just picked the day perfectly. There was not a breath of wind. Everything was dead silent. It was only, mid-morning, 10, 11 o'clock. And there's no other boats around. There's nothing else around. And every now and then we hear a... And it's a turtle popping its head up, having a little breathe, and then diving down again. And, every couple of seconds. You're seeing and then looking around and hearing one. And it was a magical experience.
It really was
fantastic.
Yeah, great company, spectacular weather. It was a day that we'll remember forever, ever. And how great is it to be a teacher and to be able to have that longer period of time, that summer holiday, to be able to just recharge your batteries with good friends and a quiet drink here or there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And look, with any job, you don't want the highlight of that job being not doing it. But look, if you take a step back and have a look at the way most people around the world work, and then you look at what we do, and particularly in Australia, we're very lucky because we get the 6 weeks over summer. So do the Northern Hemisphere. What am I talking about? Their summer. But we know exactly when the holidays are going to be. So you can plan for that, you can organise for that, or you can just let it roll and just have a good home holiday. It's really good. The question often comes up, what are we doing next holidays?
Yeah.
And that's not something that I think happens in most households.
Yes.
So what are we doing next holidays? And the other thing is, it aligns with the kids. So if you've got kids, they're on holidays too.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And obviously on this occasion, we had our little fun without the kids, which is also a joy because it's good to have parents to take care of your child. So my child was off on a cruise around the southern end of Australia with his grandma, and your gorgeous little 3 were also with their grandparents as well, out at Phillip Island on the beach, just having fun with their grandparents. So
right, so our kids were slumming it while we were living it up.
Yes. No, not even a little bit at all. They were just happy that they were having fun, and we were able to have fun too. It was so good. And I'm ready to be back. I've had the most magnificent holiday. We have just had a week of professional development. Our lead-in week is what we have in Queensland at lots of schools in Queensland, at least a couple of lead-in days. At my school, we had a week of lead-in days. and some great professional learning. We've brought on about 20 new staff to cater for our 80 new kids.
Wow.
And we had our first day today, and it was just amazing to have all of these kids back, and the smiles on their faces, and you can see the little nerves in their bellies, and then the way that they walked out at the end of the day, high-fiving us and telling their parents they had a great day. So good. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I wouldn't even want to be on holidays. I am delighted to be back.
I love it. I love the buzz that you're giving off too from the first day buzz. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And congratulations and hats off for you for creating that sort of culture and environment. Awesome stuff.
It's so good. So good. The kids, the teachers are pumped. We learnt so much from our schools in the UK, and so we've been able to tighten things up even more for our kids. So, clearer protocols, be able to give them a little bit more clarity and create an even quieter, more settled learning environment based off some of the things that we learnt over in the UK. And to see the fruits of that week of PD last week all come together today to have pretty much an extra 60 students in the same space that we had last year, and it just be so engaged and quiet and but quiet doesn't mean learning. I get that, but the transitions were quiet, so the students were able to get to classes comfortably with no worry, and to class on time, and just know where they were going. It was a great day. Great day
Amazing.
to be back. Yeah.
Amazing, because most schools would go through a transition to get students to understand exactly where they're meant to be and all that sort of stuff. And most schools just sort of roll with it and let it happen. But I love the fact that you're so proactive at your school about making sure students have clarity around not just what they're going to get out of the things, but also the expectations that are put upon them and what they have to do to hold up their end of the bargain. It's great.
Well, we had to meet the teacher on Friday. So on Friday afternoon, the very last part of our PD week, we invited all of our new parents had to come, but all of our pre-existing parents and students were invited to come. And we kind of created a little bit of a problem because our community is so beautifully engaged that some of our classrooms that fit 30 kids had 57 between 50 and 60 students and parents in the classroom. So I need to work out a little bit of a different way of doing it next year, because our parents and our students are so great and so engaged that that we need a little bit more space, or think about doing it a little bit differently, because so many, they just came out in absolute force. And I think because so many of them came on Friday, we had such a engaged and settled day today. So we kind of settled lots of those nerves for so many kids and their parents, because I know for so many parents, when your child starts at a new school, particularly some of the students who come to our school who haven't had a great experience in school up to this moment. So to see them all walking out on Friday with a smile on their face, and then the kids walking out with a smile on their face today. So good.
Absolutely. And look, they're having that classroom that doesn't fit 60 people on a parents' day is not of all the problems to have.
Exactly. Well, our managing director, Michael Roberts, he always says, "Oh, that's a good problem to have, isn't it?" Problem. Whenever I bring in problems, they're usually good problems. Oh, it's a good problem to have. Oh,
you're lucky to have that problem.
Oh, yes, indeed. And so what about you? When do you go back, and what does that entry into the school year look like for you?
So we go back after Australia Day, and we've got one day of staff day, and we hit the ground running pretty much. On Tuesday, we've got a staggered start. The sevens, I think, start on the Tuesday, and then the Wednesday, all the others start. I think that's the way it goes.
Yep.
And I'm excited because I'm a Year 7 tutor this year, which I haven't been I don't think I've ever been a Year 7 tutor. I'm an older student sort of kind of guy usually. But I'm looking forward to all the excitement and and everything else that comes with a group of Year 7s. So that's going to be good. I actually got to meet my beautiful class at the end of last year.
Good.
So we had a rollover day sort of thing for the sixes coming into sevens, and all the other students who are from other schools who were coming in managed to be there as well. So that was wonderful to meet them all. So I'm looking forward to getting to know them better and having a good year.
Awesome. Navigating them through through that
transition into
that
senior
wonderful
school.
transition. Such an important time to have great role models as a part of it. So
yes, and we've got camp early on, so I think camp's in week 3. So that's going to be
that is going to give us some highlights for this podcast. I know it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take some notes.
Yep. And you haven't done it before, so that will be
not the full one. I have been for a couple of nights here and there, but
that doesn't count. You've got to get to that full level of absolute exhaustion.
I have been up on the final night of that before on the Thursday night, and the staff they've gone a bit cuckoo by then. But it's
it's the right kind of
funny.
cuckoo.
And it's and they always keep their sense of humour. And I think I walked in because I had to finish school. Then I booted up for the Thursday night, Friday, and they're all sitting around having face masks. Those beauty face masks things you put on.
Yeah. A treatment.
I don't have any sisters or anything. I haven't had much experience with that sort of stuff. But it took about 20 minutes, and they had one on me, and it was great.
Are you dry? Or are you oily, or is it a combination skin?
I think I'm dry.
Okay, excellent.
I'm dry. It's I'm not like my sense of humour. A bit dry, maybe.
Indeed. Hey, good segue. Let's go. Let's do it then, because you segued into it so well. I'm assuming you are so ready for these grade 7 students to come back, and you've been working on this wisecrack to make sure that they are going to get a good laugh, or you're going to really set the tone for the whole year. I'm assuming, yes, we've got that in order.
Yes. I'm going to go back and listen to a few episodes to get some of the gags.
Perfect. Yeah, so you can write them down.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, let's do it then.
Whitey's Weekly Wisecracks. What do you got, Mr. White?
Well, one of the coolest things about the summer holidays is that you get a bit of time. So I was reading a few books, and I read one on the history of Rome, and it was a really, really interesting read, and it was talking about Julius Caesar. And it said one thing, that Julius Caesar never once said thank you. And I thought that was interesting, and then I realised that's because he didn't learn to speak English.
I don't.
You don't think that's funny? Well, Julius Caesar never said thank you because he doesn't know how to speak English.
Cool, because he would not say thank you because No.
You might say, I don't know, that's Latin, but that's he would have been speaking Latin, not Italian. Grazie mille or something. Like, I don't know.
Grazie mille. Yeah.
Well, that's a good start for the year, and look, the only way is up. That's a really good.
Yeah, cool. All right, so I mean, it's important for you to get quality feedback.
I'm a bit rusty.
That's okay. So you can drop that one from the pile, and you can go with another one.
Good to know. So when I'm dressing these year 7s for the first time, don't use that one.
Depends how you want your year to roll out.
Well, look,
and you let us know how it goes.
I know the ceiling of my talent, so I like setting the bar low.
Okay, you're right, and then you claw your way back up.
That's right.
For the rest of the year.
Right.
Okay, that's good. It's good. Well, that would be a good one. If that's the case, do that, and just if you're looking for some quiet in your classroom, throw that one out there.
Good.
Yeah.
Good one. Yes.
So at the end of last year, we didn't get to catch up. And we didn't get to talk about the best bits of the end of the year, which is probably a good time to talk about that at the start of the year, because at the end of the year, you get all of those warm and fuzzies, and you don't get that. You're probably not getting all of the warm and fuzzies at the start of the year. So we might talk about a couple of magical moments so that we can get inspired for the term ahead.
Magical moment.
So just one thing with that little intro, I wanted to record Zave's voice when it was still really young and sweet. The magic of puberty has done its has worked its wonders for my young son over this holiday break. So he's grown about 8 centimeters, I think, and his voice doesn't sound like that anymore. So I'm glad we captured
2 octaves.
Captured that moment in time. That's for sure.
Can't wait till his 21st.
Oh, it's going to be great. Great. So I wanted to share a couple of the notes or cards that I got at the end of last year as far as magical moments are concerned.
Yep.
We had the most phenomenal end of year celebration with our awards night, where all of our students come along with their parents. All students are presented with their report cards. And then for each class, there is also a winner of the highest attendance, the most improved reading, most improved maths. And there is a student at my school who has been with us from the very start. He was a 14-year-old boy when he arrived. He has severe dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and when he came to us, he didn't know letter sounds. He didn't, he couldn't read signs. He couldn't send text messages because he didn't have any of that foundation. He didn't know the code. And his life prospects were pretty poor. Gorgeous, handsome young man, really bright mind. So we know with dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, that there's no limit to somebody's intelligence. It's just that they can't, they have these difficulties because of the wiring of the brain, but it can be overcome if taught correctly.
Yep.
And so when this student came, he couldn't write. You got to learn to read before you write. And his first year with us, he had what we thought was a staggering 3 years improvement in reading comprehension in his first year with us, considering he was 14 and he had a prep reading age. So no comprehension because he didn't know letter sound. So you can't comprehend something that you can't read.
Yep.
And so 3 years growth in 1 calendar year was profound.
Incredible.
But and that was a really torturous, onerous, what sound does this letter make, and these blends, and anyway, he did the work, and it wasn't always smooth sailing because when you're 14 and you're having this kind of level of difficulty with reading and it's gone for this long, it's not easy. But he did the work, and in his second year he won one of our big awards. And he also won the most improved reading in his class, amongst other things, because he made a 7-year reading comprehension gain in 1 calendar year. So in 2 years, he made 10 years of reading comprehension growth in only 1 calendar year.
Unbelievable.
So unbelievable. And a few times throughout his 2 years with us, he was frustrated and he said, I'm not learning anything and I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this anymore. And I'm sick of this and it's too hard and I'm not learning anything. But by goodness gracious, we knew that he was learning, and he absolutely was. And he's gone off now and he has a job, which is amazing. And he wrote me this letter. So he definitely couldn't have done that 2 years ago. So it says, Dear Mrs. Angel, I just wanted to say thank you for helping me become a better reader and at maths. Thank you for helping me when I had my downs, especially knowing that I have learnt so much and come so far in my learning. Merry Christmas. Beautiful. So the fact that he has written that much and handwritten on a piece of paper, still get goosebumps reading that. So I got that at the end of the year, and you're exhausted at the end of the year. And I got so many these beautiful cards from staff and families and students at the end of the year, and you're tired. So I took the time to pull them out and read them again at the start of the year. And it definitely has, not that my fire needed any more fueling, but just reminded me of the absolutely imperative work that we are doing every day. And absolutely. It's time to get back to work, and it's time to work with these kids and make the magic happen.
Yes, and it is our role as teachers, and it's really important to keep reinforcing the progress that is being made, because this student here, as you just said, he gained 7 years in 1 year, and he still felt like he wasn't learning anything at times. Okay, so it's really the frustration, and learning is hard. sometimes,
Yeah.
in particular. And it's really important to keep focusing on the progress and showing that there is actually, you are making ground here. You are actually gaining ground. You are actually heading in the right direction, because it can be so easy to lose
sight of that and just get caught up in how hard it is. And I think as a teacher, often that can be so true for a teacher as well. You can get caught up in how hard it is, and you can forget about the progress that you're making and that you're helping your kids to make. So
yes, absolutely. You know more than you think, and you do more than you know. It's absolutely, absolutely true. And it's something that teachers need to remind themselves more often, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree. So what about you? Any magical moments from you? Yeah.
Lots. I just really love the way students will come back, because we've got at the end of the year we have 2 days of PD and then 1 day of celebration. And the number of students who came back on those first 2 days of their holidays, really, just to catch up with teachers and me, and it was great for me, and I got a lot of lovely notes as well, none representing 7 years of growth in 1 year, but just as thankful, just as appreciative. But what I really liked was seeing all teachers getting that. It's always nice to get it yourself, and that's great. It's really, it validates what you're doing, and it makes you feel like you're on the right track as well. But I really enjoyed this. At the end of last year, it was really noticeable to me that all staff were getting it as well.
Yeah,
and that was really, I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. Because I think it lifts everyone, and it shows that we do have a student population that's very appreciative, but we push them hard as well. So sometimes you've got to balance a bit, but at the end of the year, they're always really happy that they've had you on their team
and that you have pushed them, and they see that the pushing comes from the love.
From love, yes. Yeah, and look, and we are the ones often that know what the student can do more than they do.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that we know, but means that often we have a better idea of what students can do than they do. And I want to keep reminding myself of that. That's just something I'm focusing on. But it's really nice to see that's, other teachers feeling that way too, and just talking to the teachers afterwards. And then you hear the backstory of every student, and some of them are just incredible.
Yeah. Well, like the adversity, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good point, because the reason this child means so much to me is because when we first opened, I taught him. So I was a teaching principal then. He was in my class of 4 students, and I was there for the battle. I was there for that real struggle. Yeah. And because of that, because I was part of that, I have felt his success more. I felt so much more connected to him and my absolute need for him to succeed. So I just the teaching role. There is nothing more important in a school than that teaching role. It's absolutely imperative. The work, the connections you're making with kids every day, and absolutely championing these kids and believing in them when they stop believing in themselves is absolutely imperative.
Yeah, that's right.
So we will, that's probably a good time to talk maybe a teaching tip.
Yeah, good one.
What do you think? We don't have a sting for this, but, give us a sting, Mr. White.
I don't think I can match Zave and the material that he's pumping out. Teaching tip. Oi.
That's
we'll
good.
edit that out later.
All right. Thank you, our producer. You got that? Mark that. That's 29 minutes and 13 seconds.
He is
going to cut that out.
No, knowing him as I do, he won't. He'll actually record it and double it up and put it on again. All right.
I love it.
Okay.
So, teaching tip. What do we got? Tip.
So start of the year. Top of the year. Looking at a curriculum, particularly if you've got a new curriculum to teach, it can be really, really daunting, and I felt, particularly in my earlier years of teaching, that I didn't have a foothold, and every lesson was a battle, and it was of floating from one thing to, not floating, but, I was pushing in one direction and pushing in another direction. I was being really, really, I found it really difficult to get a bird's eye view and to stand back and have a look at the course, and then, develop the goals as we go along. So what I started doing is making a map of every lesson I do it term by term now. In fact, for year 12s, I do it semester by semester. It's a map of every lesson. Now, you don't have to put the entire lesson plan in there, but you just put some little things about what you want to achieve in that lesson, or what we're up to, or little things like, particularly this works really well at lower years for English and for any subject really, little tests at the end of the week. I do a lot of spelling tests, and they happen in the last lesson of the week all the time. Just little things so I can map out the lessons, and you actually, most teachers know this, you actually have less time than you think. But as a younger teacher, I was thinking, I don't really know how to get a foothold in this. This is what I found to be really helpful. Make a map of every lesson. So have week 1, first lesson, second lesson, third lesson, fourth lesson, and then week 2, and then map it out that way. And if you're still stuck, start with the assessment and work backwards.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always the best way to do it. Start with the outcome and then work about how you're going to get there. Map it out. So for me, and I'm quite a visual person, I would put the different strands or the different ideas that I'm teaching in different colors and that sort of thing. And I used to print it out and stick it up just so I can see it all the time, but I just put it on the screen now. I can zip it up. And it's there for me. And look, I change it all the time because things happen. You got swimming sports, you got athletics carnivals, you got all sorts of stuff that.
Well, so it'd be better again if you can, because your school by now should have a calendar.
They will have, yes, that's right.
So then mapping it out on that calendar and not going into detail, just knowing where you want to get to. So work it back from there. So there's already the major events in there that you know you're going to miss.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And look, assemblies can go long sometimes and you miss half a lesson. Yeah, little things like that. It just makes you feel more in control and able to handle those little changes that invariably happen.
Love it. And so how long, so you've been teaching for quite a few years now. So how many years have you been teaching? 15? So how long would it take you for each of the subjects that you teach to put that together?
Well, it depends. Actually, I kind of find it like it's mindful practice, because what I do is I go work out how many lessons per week and then make a thing in Word. What's it called? Create a chart. Create a
table.
Create a table.
Yep.
Thank you. And then I would map out, okay, Monday, the 21st of January, Tuesday, and then I would map it all out, and you sort of get into the hang of it, and then you step back and look. So I would say the amount of time I spend on it would be a fair bit, but it's not all done at the same time. It's a working document.
Yes. Yeah.
It just gives me a bit of thing. So look, it wouldn't take you that long.
Yeah.
Initially. It wouldn't take you that long. Just put the major assessments in, and then you can
then build it up from there. Exactly. Put some more ideas in it. Come back to it. Yeah.
It's very much a working document.
Love it. Love it. Great advice. And from a 15-year experienced teacher, that is a little piece of gold for any of our beginning teachers, early career teachers, or anybody who feels like they're time poor. It's a really good idea. Just it's a bit of pre-thinking on that class, not going into the detail, because there's plenty of time to get into the detail. So it's doing the big think first before you get into the detail.
That's right. And it's for you. Like, you don't have to write. It's not a document you're writing for your curriculum, head of curriculum or anything like that. It's for you. So you can be as detailed or as open and unstructured as you want.
Yeah. Dot point, short form. Yeah. Yeah. Don't need to. Yeah. As detailed or lack of detail as you need to get a bit of a picture. Bird's eye picture.
That helps me. What about you? Have you got a teaching tip? Oi.
That's 34 minutes and 10 seconds as well there. Yes, I am going to go back to an age-old one that I absolutely live by. And that is my old 5 for 2. So when we have our new classes at the start of a term, you will have students who you immediately form a really strong bond with, and that relationship comes easily. And there are going to be some students who it just doesn't come quickly and easily, that relationship and that ability to connect. So 5 for 2 is a really good strategy. It's a conscious strategy that you can use. So you're going to, in your mind, or write down who is that student, and for 5 days straight, for 2 minutes at a time, you are going to go out of your way to connect with that student. So you're going to find them in the playground. You're going to find them, you're going to see them 3 times a week, probably if you're in a high school class, when they're lining up for your class. You are going to go out of your way to spend 2 minutes with that student, asking them about their weekend, ask them about their holidays, ask them questions, tell them random bits of information about you. They are going to think you are so weird initially. And why are you talking to me? And then the next day you're going to be, oh my God, she's back. Why is she telling me about this? That she has got a cousin who lives in France. And like, I don't care. Then the third day she's back, and all of a sudden the conversation's going well again. Oh my gosh, she's making a beeline to me in the playground. Why is she coming? Oh, okay, we're going to talk about this again. So after 5 days, it's a little bit more natural. You know a lot more about them. They know a lot more about you. And then the conversation and the relationship just comes a whole lot easier. That's a strategy that I learned early in my career. I still use it every single term, particularly at the start of the year, particularly when I want to know all of our students' names, and it's difficult, and some of them just kind of force that connection, and some of them I don't. So this is a strategy that I use each week with a handful of kids. I'm going 5 for 2 with these kids, so that I'm never going to forget their names, and I'm going to know a whole lot about them.
That's great. That's really good, because you're right. There are some students that you know straight away because they are, I don't know, they might be a bit louder in class.
Yeah.
They might have
a medical condition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Things that are important to know. Like everything's important to know, I suppose, but vital to know. And then there are other students who sort of don't like the attention either.
Yeah.
They're happy just to
and possibly actively going out of their way to
right.
And
then there are those that really avoid that and it might be for a reason of that could be changed. It might have been something that happened in the past that is detrimental to their learning, and now creating this relationship can really help them.
I saw a sign the other day. You cannot be all things to all students, but sometimes you'll be the right teacher at the right time. You'll be the exact teacher that one child needed more than anything.
Yeah.
And I know that a couple of times that I've done that 2 for 5, that's the note that the child has written to me, that you saw me when nobody else did. And even when I made things difficult for you, you still made it happen.
Yeah.
So that's the magic of teaching, isn't it? That such an imperative role that we get to play in these kids' lives, and the backstories of all of these kids. Every child has a backstory, and we get to be part of it with so many of them.
And I like the way that reinforces the idea that a teaching staff is a team as well.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do everything, but someone else is going to be able to tag in and do what they do really well, or naturally, or whatever.
Yep.
Because ours is a very dynamic, challenging profession, and you can't do everything perfectly all the time.
No. Very true.
Good point. Love that one.
All right. So spiraling upwards. Do you remember our question for this week?
Yes. What are you energized about at the start of the year now? What are you excited about? And I want you to think about a challenge that is coming up that you're actually looking forward to. Because often, you get to the end of holidays, particularly these long ones for the Southern Hemisphere teachers, and you don't dread going back, but you know that, I've got to do that. I've got to do that. And I haven't looked into that, and I haven't done that yet. And it can get a lot. And it can get a lot very quickly. And so I like to think about at least a couple of things that I'm excited about that the year holds. So it might be a new challenge, and it is for me. So I mentioned earlier that I'm a Year 7 tutor. I'm really, really excited and looking forward to that, and looking forward to working with the team that are the Year 7 tutors. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. I haven't worked with a lot of them before, which is going to be great. One I have, and we get along well. So I'm really looking forward to that aspect of my role for 2024.
Love it. Love it.
You?
I think that one of the big takeaways that we got from a number of the schools that we visited in the UK is they do well-being really beautifully. But, no, not but, and they do it at the strangest times. So there is no wasted moment. They get 5 hours or 6 hours or 6.5 hours with students, and they've got all of this curriculum that they need to teach. And so every moment is a potential moment for doing something for well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And one of these beautiful things that they do over there is family lunch in a number of the UK schools. So the students eat lunch together, but then they're not just sitting and eating lunch silently or picking where they want to sit and sitting. It is structured, and it is provides moments for connection and reflection and gratitude and celebration. And so we're not calling it family lunch this year. We're calling it the Grateful Gathering is what we're calling it. So once a week, we students will do a Grateful Gathering rather than just going outside to eat. So it only goes for 15 minutes, and it's a Grateful Gathering. There's some kind of conversation starters when they'll sit in groups, they'll eat their lunch, they'll talk about certain things, and they'll also have a chance to talk about things that they're grateful for as well, and any class celebrations as well. So only 15 minutes, a little 15-minute power that's going to really allow our classes to connect. We did a practice last week with our staff, and so we obviously had some new staff there, and it was great because staff that they didn't get to choose where they sit, so they had to sit with people they wouldn't usually sit. And the feedback from staff was just, oh, that was so nice. I've never gotten a chance to talk with that person, and it was so great to learn this about them. And there's already a connection has been created there. So tomorrow we're doing our first Grateful Gathering, and I'm excited. I'm really excited about that new initiative. I'm just so excited also about how excited our staff are about it. So it's just a sign for really good attitudes from other people, and seeing how much we can capitalize on those extra little minutes that often we see kind of flitted away, and how we can create moments of connection for our students and our staff together. So yes, I'm excited about that.
And I gather that part of your excitement stems from the fact that you've created another alliteration. You do like your alliteration, magical moments, and Whitey's Weekly Wisecracks, and teaching tales.
Teaching tales, Grateful Gathering.
How does this work? So what do the staff do do they give them the topics as
they give them the topics. They'll sit down and eat with the students as well, and they'll give them the topics. So the first thing's going to be, so with our staff the other day, we asked, so what are you excited for this year? And they shared those things. So we had staff there who are at all different places in their career. So our brand new staff, we have assistant teachers, we had support workers, we had experienced teachers, we had our leaders. It was great to hear all of those different things about what they're excited for. And then we talked about, and what are you grateful for? And it could have been something external to school or in school, and lots of people shared some of both, which was great. And then the teacher who's leading it kind of pulls together some of the great things that they heard to kind of reinforce that there was some great conversations happening. And
awesome.
So all the good feels, all the warm and fuzzies. So stay tuned. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow when we do our first Grateful Gathering.
Look forward to hearing about that one. Very good.
All right, so this year we're back with another, hopefully 4 seasons, and we want to connect with more teachers during these episodes. So how could people do that?
Well, they can write in and let us know about themselves and just co-host. Just sit around, have a chin wag with us. We are interested in getting to know teachers, but it doesn't, we've interviewed a range of people. We want to continue doing that, but we want to bring in a few more teachers just to talk about the stuff they've experienced, their perspective on the profession, what they found to be helpful, so that we can move it on and what's it called? Pay it forward and show other people what some tips that might help them. So if you've got some ideas or you're interested in doing that, you can email us on teacherschangelivespodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, you're good, Mr. White. You're good.
I'm practicing that one.
Yep.
And we're on the socials as well. So let us know. It doesn't take, all you need is an internet hookup. That's all we need. And we would look forward to having a chat with you.
Can't wait.
How else can they do it?
Yeah, so absolutely, socials are good. You've nailed it, Mr. Wyatt. That's why you do have the big good seat, because you are pretty
I
spectacular.
was focusing on that email address so hard.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what? There's a first time for everything, and you've nailed that, and I couldn't be more proud of you. So we might finish there. So all the best to you when you go back to school next week, and to all of the Queensland listeners who've gone back this week. Well done for coming back and laying a great foundation for what's going to be an amazing year. To our northern friends, keep chugging along. You guys are deep into the middle of a term. So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it.
That's exactly right. Enjoy the start of the year, Southern Hemisphere people. Have fun.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Powered by Riverside.